Are you ready? Brother Muhammad? طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه واتبع هداه إلى يوم الدين وبعد. Let's start inshallah with the prohibition of the tongue. And we stopped last time with the line that the Sheikh ended the part about the prohibition of the tongue itself. And he said قال والذكر أفضل من التصدق فعاتب الموسر إذا لم ينفق أتى بسيئين كل منهما أسوأ مما خله به رمى عصى وفاته جزيل الأجر وليس يدري أنه لا يدري. Here the Sheikh mentioned an action that a lot of people fall in. قال فعاتب الموسر إذا لم ينفق أتى بسيئين كل منهما أسوأ مما خله به رمى عصى وفاته جزيل الأجر وليس يدري أنه يدري. Whomsoever blames a person who is rich that he's not spending for the cause of Allah. So what is the Sheikh trying to say here? If you see someone who has money, okay, this person is rich, you know that they have money, you know that they're capable and they're able to spend, but they don't for whatever reason. He said, when you blame them, you have committed two sins. أتى بسيئين. Okay, you have done two wrong actions. كل منهما أسوأ. Each one of them is worse than the other. Number one, عصى. You disobeyed. You disobeyed means you disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by speaking ill of someone or by gossiping about someone or by saying something about someone that they don't like, whether it's ghiba, namima, yani in all cases you have committed a sin by speaking about that person's action. قال وفاته جزيل الأجر, and you miss so much of reward for keeping quiet upon what people do. So what do we learn from that? We are not supposed to judge people for their actions. We are supposed to convey and advise people to do the right thing. But it's not our obligation, it is not our business to get into what people do or not do. You don't know this person, Mathan, he's rich, he has money. You don't know why he doesn't give sadaqah for. Maybe he does give sadaqah in secret, in private. Maybe he does other actions that are more beneficial than the sadaqah that he would give. Maybe he only gives his zakah money, which is enough because he's not obligated to give sadaqah. So you really don't know. And this is a problem with people judging others. Okay, judging others or rushing with judgment is a big problem that a lot of people fall into it, and then they regret that they're getting a sin for it, or they regret knowing that what they said about this person was not true. In both cases, the person has committed such a sin that they're not supposed to do. And the famous hadith that we all know, narrated by Imam Ahmad and others, that the Prophet ﷺ, the man who came to Rasulullah ﷺ, and he said, or he said about his brother, Wallahi inni la ubghiduhu fillah. Wallahi, I hate him for the sake of Allah. You all remember the hadith? What did the Prophet ﷺ tell him at the end? He said, he is better than you. Because what you counted is the obvious actions. Well, he said, Ya Rasulullah, he only prays the salah that everybody does. Ya Rasulullah, he only fasts the Ramadan that everybody does. Ya Rasulullah, he only gives sadaqah, the zakah of the money. That's all he saw. He's judging him based on the actions that he have seen, but not based on the reward of those actions. That could be so great that he is better than you. At least he's not speaking about others' matters. So he said, if you see someone, فَعَاتِبُ الْمُوسِرِ إِذَا لَمْ يُنْفِقِ, if you see someone who has money and he's not giving sadaqah, okay, or he's not spending, Don't put yourself into losing a reward yourself. By he said you're missing the reward of being silent, because you could advise the person, but you have no obligation to judge that person in whatever actions that he do. Here, there's something very important. It is not. See, a lot of people, they count actions by the quantity of actions. It's how much you're doing. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala judges actions by the quality of actions. Yani, an action that you don't think will get you to Jannah, if you do it with ikhlas, it will get you the highest place in Jannah. And actions that you do it thinking you get so much of reward, but then it's a show off or whatever the case might be, you lose all the reward. فهي يعني الرجل أو المرأة الزانية أو الرجل الذي الباغية كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لما سقت كلبا, when she fed a dog, why did she get to Jannah? يعني ابن تيمية يقول ليس كل من سقى كلبا دخل الجنة. Not every person who feeds a dog or gives a dog water, they enter Jannah. Why did she enter Jannah? لأنه the action that she did at that moment, at that specific time, was completely pure for Allah. We have people now who run shelters for animals, and they might not enter Jannah because they're doing it for whatever business reason that they are. So your action is not based on how much of action. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his actions were so little and in amount, but it was such great actions that you could practice, you could perform, you could do it all the time. So doing something, and doing the action itself is one part, but the reward of the action itself is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you the full reward for it or not the full reward for it. That's the point. Our job again is not to judge someone based on what they do or how much they could do. You know, the, this leads us to another point. We should always have husn al-dhann, benefit of doubt. Husn al-dhann, I don't want to go into details of the definition of the scholars of it, but think of husn al-dhann. What could someone tell me a easy definition of husn al-dhann? Easy definition that you think of. ما هو حسن الظن؟ Yeah, Ali. No, you're translating. Yeah, that's translation. That's good. But that's literal translation. What is حسن الظن? Huh? You don't jump into conclusions without investigation. Okay. You make excuses for others. Not bad, but you assume the best. Not bad, very good. All that. That's it. This is how simple it is, but we don't do it. You assume the best of someone like you assume the best about yourself. Yani, you see someone who's not giving sadaqah and he's a millionaire. The first thing that should come to your mind is what? That this person has given sadaqah somewhere else other than the days. But we don't do that. We always judge based on. And subhanallah, that's Umar al-Khattab radiallahu anhu used to say, Wallahi, لو رأيت رجلا تتساقط من لحيته خمر. If I see a man walking and wine is dropping off his beard, قال لقلت سكبها عليه أحدهم. I would think that someone did what? Pour it over them. Now, if we see someone smelling like alcohol, we will be like, oh, where was he? I'm sure, may Allah forgive him. Okay, what if you're somewhere in a restaurant and a cup of wine dropped on your clothes? Would your clothes smell like wine? Imagine you come to the masjid with that smell. Not lead the salah, okay? That's don't do that. That's a bigger problem. Yeah, talking about wine being pure or not pure, that's a different story. But the point here is what? Everybody's gonna think of the worst, not the best. Umar said, I'm not gonna think of that. And that's why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when the Sahaba, and sometimes that's why you, again, don't put yourself into a position to lead others for su'ul dhan also. Just to advise, okay? Yani don't be sitting on a table that they're drinking alcohol and be like, inshallah, they'll figure out that I'm not drinking. لا, ما هم- yeah, you're also wrong. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when Safiya came to visit him in the masjid at night, her room was the last room at the end. So Rasulullah he went out with her at night time. When two companions saw Rasulullah sallam with a woman, they couldn't recognize her. It was dark. They didn't know who she was, and he went out with her because it was dark. So they ran away. The companions. Rasulullah he stopped them and he said, "Come here. Innaha Safiya. She is my wife Safiya." قال يا رسول الله, why do you need to clear that? Like we know, he said the shaitan runs into the veins in the son of Adam like blood. The shaitan runs into the son of Adam like the blood runs into the vein. I did not want you to think or think of me other than the reality. And if you do so, you disbelieve because he's Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Innaha Safiya. So a person shouldn't put himself into a position that he has someone to think bad of him, but at the same time, we should always bring about the best of what we think of people than what the worst that we could think of. قال فصل في محرمات السمع والبصر. Now the Sheikh is going to talk about the prohibition that is related to hearing and sighting or seeing. Okay. قال ومن محرمات سمع وبصر ما أوجبوا تدوينه ليحتذر. He said, what is considered to be prohibited upon the person is anything that the ulama have warned you from. Anything that the scholars have warned you from, then it's also haram to see it or hear it. Music is, I hope so by now, music is haram after this long class. Music is haram. I'm talking about music instruments right now. Let's not get into the discussion. Music instrument is haram, okay? So listening to music is haram. Watching music videos or clips are haram. So the Sheikh said, whatever Allah has forbidden upon you, okay, it is also prohibited upon you to look at it or to listen to it, okay? فكل منطق وفعل انحضر يجب كف السمع عنه والبصر. Everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said or stated was haram. Backbiting, haram or halal? Okay, let me ask again, maybe you're not paying attention. Backbiting, halal or haram? Alhamdulillah. Agreement, ijma'. So it is haram to listen to it. We already spoke about this before. If a person backbites, that's haram. But I'm listening. Here, alhamdulillah, it came in. The Sheikh said it is also haram to listen to it. Namima, rumors, sending rumors or lies. Haram. Yes? Seeing it, witnessing it, listening to it is also haram. كل ما لا يجوز. Everything that is haram to do, it is haram to listen to, and it's haram to see. وهكذا عن كل شيء يكره مولاه أن تسمعه أو ترى. He said it is also haram and prohibited upon a person to listen to or see anything that displeases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, Bismillah, give me example. Examples. Nothing haram, everything is halal. مثال كل شيء يكره مولاه. Anything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dislike, haram to listen to it or see it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يقول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said, من استمع إلى حديث قوم. Whoever listens to a talk of a certain group, وهم له كارهون, and they dislike him to listen to. I don't know if I should say that. Just wait. I'll get what you have in mind. This happens, unfortunately, into gathers of sisters more than brothers. You have three sisters sitting on the side talking, and one sister at the end of the masjid. By the time they're done, she already has it all. Her ears are there. And the reason they set far to talk is that they don't want anyone to listen. Okay? طبعا, if there's three people standing together, it's haram for two to speak privately and leave the third, because Rasulullah said, don't do that. But I'm talking about something else. Like, for example, there's three, four sisters, they're talking about something, okay? And sometime they would tell the person, this is private. Like, there's something. By the time they're done, she already heard everything. So they dislike what she did, or with the brothers, same thing. Same, of course, this applies to everybody. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: من استمع, whoever listens to a group of people talking, وله كارهون, and they dislike him to listen or her, صب في أذنه الأنك يوم القيامة. الأنك اللي هو الرصاص المذاب. It's like the bullets. When you melt the bullets, it will be dropped in his ears in the day of judgment. والعياذ بالله. طبعا, if you guys get a bullet and melt it, just put it on fire and melt it, you can't even touch that. You can't even get close to it. Imagine it will be dropped in a person. Why? Because he has listened to. طبعا, this could apply to a lot of things now. Merging someone into the call without someone knowing. Speakers. You put someone on a speaker and you don't know, the person doesn't know that there's a third party who's listening. Okay? Or you're talking to your friends and then you have someone there, you'll be like, oh, let me show you what they're saying. All of that is included into the same hadith. Yes, Ali, what's the haram? طيب. قال أو تراه, الأصل أن يقال أو تراه, يعني أن تراه, that you should see anything that you should see or that displeases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for you to see, then you shouldn't see it. قال تلذذ بالصوت مما لا تحل له والإصغاء للمخوفة حضل. He said it is haram for a person to listen to, okay, any kind of fitna or haram that he would listen to. And the temptations here is talking about either individual or listening to a conversation that will move the temptation of a person. وهكذا النظر للجبير بعين راضي حاله النكير كنظر تعظيما أو إزراء للأغنياء أو بني غبراء. It is also haram to look at someone, okay? To look at someone, and the reason that you honor that person or you look at him with honor is because he's rich or he carries a status. Or to look at the poor in a humiliated way because they are poor. قال إيه؟ يمشي الفقير وكل شيء ضده والناس تغلق دونه أبوابها وتراه مذموما وليس بمذنب ويرى المهانة لا يرى أسبابها حتى الكلاب إذا رأت يوما رجل الغنى حنت إليه وحركت أذنابها وإذا رأت يوما فقيرا ماشيا نبحت عليه وكشرت أنيابها. This I can't translate it, it's very hard. The poet says يمشي الفقير, a poor person would walk and everything is against him, and everybody is looking at him in a humiliated way just because he is poor, and he sees that he's hated by everybody and everyone and he doesn't know the reason. Even dogs, they move their tail out of happiness when they see a rich person and they bark at a poor person. He said, this is the reality of life. Okay, a rich person is respected because they are rich, not because who they no, because they are rich. There is a benefit. He said it's even haram to look with honor to such a person, and it's also haram to humiliate someone because they are poor. Just looking down at them because they are poor. Okay, you see the rich person, everybody jumps up to shake his hand and give salam. What if a poor person comes in? No one pays attention to him. No one wants to even see him. That is also haram because we don't judge people based on their social status. We don't judge people based on their economic status. We don't judge people based on ethnicity or race. It doesn't matter. What is respected is a taqwa, the person who's most pious. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, قال واصبر نفسك مع الذين يدعون ربهم بالغداة والعشي يريدون وجهه ولا تعد عيناك عنهم تريد زينة الحياة الدنيا. This is Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah is telling him what? He says, don't turn your eyes away from those poor people who came to ask you and learn from you, and they are Muslims, looking for the beauty of dunya into hope that those rich people would become Muslims. And Rasulullah didn't do it out of arrogance. Yani Rasulullah, when the poor Sahaba were sitting down, he turned away from them. Why? Because the rich kuffar of Mecca, they came to him. So Rasulullah gave them more attention. So Allah said, what about those ones? You don't turn away from him. Why? لماذا? Why? He wanted what? He wanted to guide their hearts. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, don't do that. Because Suhaib and Ammar and Bilal, and those Sahaba, yeah, they are poor. They were slaves. But they are what? Believers. Abu Jahl and Abu Lahab and them, yes, they are rich, but they are disbelievers. So who favors your attention more? Them. SubhanAllah, beautiful story of Umar al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. Abu Sufyan, when he became Muslim, he brought some of the major leaders of Mecca, this is the time of Umar, to announce their Islam to Umar radiallahu anhu. And you all know Umar's house was just a very simple house made from mud. Anybody could come in. Aslam, his servant, would be sitting by the door just to organize who's coming in and out. But like everybody would see Umar. So some of the companions like Bilal and others, okay, Suhaib and they came in. They came in and waiting. They were waiting for Umar radiallahu anhu. Abu Sufyan came with the leaders of Mecca. So when they came in, طبعا, even till today, we still have some places, some countries, some families, they look at people based on their status. This is reality, okay? I was told by a lot of my friends who live in one country, I was very close to that country, yani, very, very close. Not Egypt. Egypt is worse. But not Egypt, behavior of certain people. They told me that even if you're from a rich family or rich tribe, they will judge you based on the job you do. Like they won't marry you to their daughter if you are a barber. Even if you have money. That prideness in the heart doesn't change, because that's a characteristic of individuals. It has nothing to do with the deen. So these kuffar, they're new to Islam. All their life they lived as what? Leaders. Respected, recognized, loved. If they sit on a chair like this, everybody else has to sit on the ground. Not me and you guys. No. It just happened for the class. And there is no way that someone would even ride with them on the same. That's why Rasulullah was seen as a strange to them. How would he ride as being the Prophet of Allah, the best of creation, the man that Allah chose to favor in everything? And he has Zayd behind him, Like, what is this? They didn't. It couldn't click to them. Their status. So when they came in, they sat on the side. They saw the Sahaba sitting on the side. طبعا there is no conversation right now. Bilal and them. That's to them. So Aslam said, wait till I ask Umar who should come in. That in itself triggered them. Some of them looked at Abu Sufyan and said, look, you humiliated us so much that he's asking who should go in first. Of course it's us. So Umar said to Aslam, let Bilal and his friends come in first. Boom. That broke their heart. There is no way. So when they came in, they said to Abu Sufyan, how much of humiliation do you want us to go through? What more do you want us to go through? Abu Sufyan said what? He said, Wallahi, they were called to Allah and you were called to Allah. Who accepted it first? Them. Wallahi, they were called to fight with the Prophet of Allah that you believe in today. Who fought with him and who fought against them? They fought with him, you fought against them. Wallahi, wherever Allah established a ruling, they said, Sami'na wa ata'na. We listened and we obeyed. You said, Ya Muhammad, you're a poet and we reject what you say. So who should go in first? He said, listen to this part now. Abu Sufyan is a very wise man. You guys should not worry about them going into the house of Umar first. What should worry you the most now? Who's gonna get to Jannah first? He said you should do some actions that when you go to the day of judgment, they don't get to Jannah first. You're worried about who's going into the house of Umar. I'm worried about you in Jannah. They're gonna be called first too. So we should compete on that now. This is the part we should focus on. They know whoever goes into Umar's house, it doesn't matter who goes in first. He said, don't let them rush to Jannah before you, because you would lose in dunya and akhirah. فسبحانallah, yani. And that's why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the fuqara, the poor people. This is not a call for you to be poor, by the way. The poor people would enter Jannah, 500 years before the rich. Nobody should say, Ya Allah, make me poor today. No. If it happens, why? Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example for you to think of that. How many of you travels more often? Airport, not by the car. Ahmed, have you ever been to New York? No, international. Yeah. When I got to New York the first time, the only time I understood this hadith was when I was in New York. After all these years, I was traveling to New York. How I usually travel is very, very light. Okay? So I had a bag on me. I was very young at that time. I had a backpack and a little suitcase that I actually sent it out. خلاص. All the people who were traveling were Egyptians going to Egypt. So you could imagine someone going to Egypt with his family, talking about 3-4 of his family members. I couldn't see the line because of the luggage. So you have مثلا 4 people in your family. At that time you used to get two luggage and 1 extra free. It wasn't paid. So you're talking about 4 people times 2. That's what? 8. And then the carry-on bags you have 2. So that's another. No. 4 people with 2 luggage, that's 8. And big 4 bags, that's 8. So 8, that's 16 on a cart. Can you imagine? So everybody who saw me in line would be like, oh, you could go first. Okay, I come first. The family looked at me and were like, oh, yeah, go ahead. Why? Because I had lightweight. When I got to the security, to the check luggage, I just placed my bag. The lady gave me my ticket. I took it, turned around. They're all opening their bags because they have stuff to search, they have stuff to take out, they have stuff. Wallahi, at that moment, I understood the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why the poor people are going to go to Jannah first? They're light. What, how much did you have in the bank? $500. Yalla ma salam. How much did you have? 1 million. Okay, Habib Ta'ala, 1 million. When did you get it? How did you get it? How did you spend it? Who did you? The question is going to take some time. So by the time your question, he's already in Jannah. His custom, okay, his security checkpoint to Jannah is faster. Not faster because he's better, faster because he has less than what you have to ask for. And Rasulullah ﷺ said, لا تزول قدم عبد يوم القيامة حتى يسأل عن أربع. You'll be questioned. You're not going to move a step forward till you're questioned for four things in the day of judgment. One, your lifespan. So you lived 50 years. So you're going to be asked about 50 years. Okay, two, your youth age, which is the age 15 up to 14. Okay, 40 or so. Yani in the theories. Okay, that part. And then your wealth, and the wealth has two questions. How you got it, how you earned it, your income and your spending. And then number four, the knowledge. How many khutbah have you attended in your life? Think about this. Khutbah only. Khutbah. Friday khutbah. Aslan, there are some people on Friday khutbah, they're on their phones. By the way, your salah is invalid. Here you go. Yeah, your salah doesn't count. Your whole khutbah doesn't count. When you're on your phone during the khutbah, the entire khutbah doesn't count. So it's as if you left your classes, you came to the masjid, you sat early, okay, and then you wasted all that, you got zero at the end. Taban, if you answer the phone, that's even worse. I see it. Okay, I'll call you back after Jum'ah. What did you do? Seriously, what did you do? Yani when you said I called you back, you still didn't call him. You still didn't answer. So what's the benefit? I see people on their phone all the time, and honestly, the reward is zero. The reward is zero. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam قال من مس الحصى فقد لغى. Whoever touched the bees, like the little rocks that were in the masjid of Rasulullah, he said if you play with them just with your hands, then this is laghu. Khalas, the nonsense talk or foolishness, that your khutbah doesn't count. Imagine the phones now are worse than the rocks. They used to play with it when they're sitting, like you're bored, you're just playing with that. Rasul said, don't even play with that. So how many khutbah did you listen to in your life? Let's say you lived, may Allah prolong your life, say Ameen. But just say you lived 40 years. Okay? So 20 years you've been listening to khutab. So 20 years times what? Kam? 50 khutbah taqriban? Okay. So you're going to be asked about 50 khutbah. The knowledge you got, what did you do with it? Huh? Hold on. Every year, 4 times 12? Huh? Just for now. 4 times 12 is what? 48. 48 times 20 years? Allah. Davis has improved. The math in Davis is getting better toward graduation because you guys are studying. It's final time. That's what's happening now. I know that. Before we used to ask 4 plus 4, everybody's like, oh, now alhamdulillah. I told you before, studying does make a difference. Tawakkul doesn't mean you shouldn't study. You should study and rely on Allah. Alhamdulillah. How much was it? Almost 1,000, huh? طيب, let's just say 1,000. You're standing up. So 1,000 khutbah, 1,000 khutbah, that means 500 hours. At least. خلاص? So 500 hours of knowledge that you benefited or you heard, how much did you apply from that? Now, just imagine through your life, not just the khutab. Khutab is like an example. 500 hours you'll be asked for in the day of judgment. So the point of question here is that you always return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala light. Can you imagine some of the Salaf used to say, Wallahi, I swear by Allah, inni, that I have prepared myself to answer all questions that I'll be asked for. Why did you do it? How did you do it? When did you do it? Any of you could say that today? Aslan, we don't remember what we did yesterday. They used to count their actions. The day, how much of good deeds, how much of sins, how much of this I have, compiled against myself, how much have I gained, how much have I spent, how much have I. This is the حاسبوا أنفسكم قبل أن تحاسبوا. Umar said that, radiallahu anhu. He said, judge yourself before you're being judged. وزنوا أعمالكم قبل أن توزن عليكم. And scale your actions before they are scaled either for you or against you. It's gonna be scaled. So should you do it yourself? Better. Scale your own actions. The day that you don't add good actions to yourself is the day that you have lost. The day that you don't benefit something new is the day you have lost. The day that you don't get good reward, the day you have lost. Imagine that day you also miss reward or lose reward or commit a sin or add onto yourself sins. Be very careful of anything that displeases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should be priority. This is your number one. You live your life to please Allah, not anybody else. You truly live your life. In every action, the simplest way, the easiest way is to say, would Allah be happy with me if I do this? Like work. This is what we do at work. Yani, we always think this way. My boss, would he be happy if I do this or not? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deserves that more than anybody else. Whenever you want to commit an action, just ask yourself, would it please Allah or displease Allah? Would Allah see it and be happy with it, or would it be counted against me in the day of judgment? نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يعافينا وإياكم من كل مكروه. I'll stop here inshallah for now and maybe take questions that opens up topics to the brothers and sisters inshallah who are with us, or the Bismillah, tfaddal. Anybody has? Go ahead. Behind their palaces? Yeah, of course. No, you shouldn't. Look, قال الله عز وجل ولا يجرمنكم شنآن قوم على ألا تعدلوا اعدلوا هو أقرب للتقوى. He said, do not let the enmity of people cause you or lead you to be unjust. Okay? Yani, describing an individual with their actions is accepted if there is a benefit. Adding on to that, you shouldn't. Oh, I know these rulers, they all get together and they drink alcohol. Question, have you seen it? No. We really don't know. Oh, and they do it in Mecca too. Subhanallah. Khalas, one of two. You were there and you saw it. Okay? Or the revelation came down to tell you. So which one? None. So why would you say that? La. Hatta even the rulers. There's adding on, even the description when the ulama says that it's permissible for a person to backbite in certain cases. Do you guys remember them or no? Yeah? Mu'arrifin wa mu'allim. Okay, one of them is to acknowledge someone or say, describe someone. Okay? This person has a problem with his knee. When they walk, they limp. You could say what? This person has a problem with their knee. You know the brother so-and-so, yeah, who's this? I can't remember him. Is the brother who walks this way. That's it. If you start imitating him, that's backbiting. That's haram. So even to, yes, because here, you say, oh, the bald brother. The guy who has no hair, man, when you shoot the bright head, you add on. This is a story you make now. Okay? That's haram. So what's enough is enough. So, and also speaking about rulers, what is the benefit? To be honest, most of the gathering, nothing. Unless you guys are scholars discussing, is a Muslim ruler or not? Should we go? That's yani, if there's a benefit of it, okay, I understand. But if there's no benefit, then keep yourself away from it. Yani, those rulers, those rulers are already doing enough. I don't want to get from their sins. Like, I do not want to get from their sins added on to my sins for nothing. In the day of judgment, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, أتدرون من المفلس? Do you know who is the true muflis? Muflis is someone who comes, like who would file bankruptcy in the day of judgment. They said, Ya Rasulullah, man laysa lahu dirham, the person who doesn't have money. He said, no. A true muflis is someone, okay, someone who's broke. You could call him broke. Is someone who comes in the day of judgment with actions like mountains. But he's good. Hold on. But he cursed so and so. He cussed at so and so. He spoke ill of so and so. He backbite so and so. He sent rumors about so and so. He made fun of so and so. He mocked so and so. He spit on so and so. So when they come in the day of judgment, what would they do? They all take from his good deeds. طيب, what if his good deeds are over? He will take from their sins added to him to hellfire. So he is broke. The ulama says a person who's broke is someone who does actions for others, not for himself. So you guys are gifting your good deeds. You're doing action. You're praying, but someone else is going to take the reward from you just because you said something bad about them. You even winked. You winked. Look at this. Look at. You didn't even say look. You just said someone, a sister or a brother was crossing by. You wanted to show something. You're like, do you think that is haram or halal? Haram or halal? Prove it from the Quran. Huh? Not just humazat al-lumaza. Huh? خائنة الأعين. رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يعلم خائنة الأعين وما تخفي الصدور. خائنة الأعين is a wink of an eye that no one sees it. We're so worried about a flying mosquito and we want to free Palestine. Anyway, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, someone came to become Muslim, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not want to accept his pledge at first place. He kept turning away from him. So the person came, Rasulullah turned his face, and he didn't seem so happy. So Uthman ibn Affan brought the man to this side, so Rasulullah turned away. So the man was talking to him, Rasulullah did like, he kept, till he accepted. So he said to the Sahaba, he said, when you saw me turning my face, none of you were smart enough to get him out? قال يا رسول الله, if you just blinked with your eye, like you showed us a sign. قال ما كان لنبي أن تكون له خائنة أعين. It is not permitted for a prophet to even wink with an eye like that. As this is like a betrayed, a form of betrayal. Can you imagine we do more today? We actually make fun of people in front of them. So be careful of that, yani, inshallah. Naam. Yes. Yeah, we're on camera right now. Thank you. I know exactly what I'm saying. They're trying to get me in trouble on camera. I know the hadith very well. Yes. He was harmful to Allah and His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that to a point that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told the Sahaba, if you find him holding onto the robe of the Kaaba hatta before he becomes Muslim. That's one of the few people that Rasulullah ever said that about, to get rid of him, yeah. Because of how harmful he was to Allah and His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yes. Mm. Kuf. Kuf. Uh-huh. Yeah. Compatible doesn't mean, compatible means number one, religion. Religion, religiously, that they are compatible for each other. But some ulama, they do put rules on that. Like Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah ta'ala, to him, a person being compatible is someone who is from the same tribe, same family, speaks the same language, understand the custom and the tradition so it doesn't cause any problems. So it's to what extent? طبعا if someone of a religion, he should be favored over anybody else. Okay? But again, you you have to understand that the part about a person being compatible or not, there's a sister in Egypt. She heard she was from a very 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 rich family. She had everything that anyone could ask for. Okay, so her parents, for example, in her house where she lived, طبعا she lived in a house that is like a, mashallah, like a mansion, okay, like a big house. So she had people who clean up for her every week. She had people who cook for them, okay? She had people who drove her around as a drivers. So she lived a lifestyle that is very yani, luxury. So she was, she became religious, mashallah. She started wearing niqab. She went to lectures of the mashayikh. So she got so convinced of, she loved the story of Ali and Fatima. So she favored someone who is very poor like Ali. She wanted to, of course, religion comes first. So he said to her, okay, if we get married, I can't even afford to buy a house. She said, why we need a house? An apartment is fine. He said, I have two bedroom apartment that I inherited from my parents, but the furniture is so bad. Like she said, we don't even need a furniture, just a cover to sleep on and a blanket to cover ourselves, and khalas, that's our life. We're gonna live like Ali and Fatima. So they went to a sheikh. The sheikh said, why? She said, I want to live like Ali and Fatima. He said, but he's not Ali and you're not Fatima. Seriously, this is a lifestyle that they lived a certain lifestyle because of a reason. Anyway, she got convinced, she got married. The sheikh said, if anything happens, yani, and you guys need me, come back. So the sheikh said, 2 weeks, they were back. Why? They wanted to divorce, not like Fatima and Ali now. What was her problem? Her problem was that the first few days when she slept on the ground, the first day it was fine, nice, but not the second night, not the third night, not the fourth night, not when her friends came over to visit who were also rich and saw her clothes in plastic bags because they didn't have a closet, so she left it. Not that when she had to get up and make food for them because she has no one to make it, so she spent a lot of time in the kitchen. Now, after 1 week, she told him, listen, if you don't get me a house like I lived in, I don't want to be Fatima and I don't want Ali. They ended up divorced, which is very common. Why? They're not compatible. It's not, the lifestyle is not going to work. It's not going to be possible. Okay? There is no middle ground. So that is considered in marriage. Yes, and Islam respects that. And Islam considers that. Custom and tradition also comes in hand when it comes to that. But religion, we should favor religion over. Like for example, if you have parents, okay, if you have parents who don't speak English, for example, how are they going to communicate with your husband or your wife? For husband or wife, for his daughter, how are they going to communicate? So it does make sense. The mother-in-law is saying, this guy comes to marry my daughter. I don't even understand what he's talking about. He looks nice, he sounds nice, but I don't know what he's saying. So how are we going to communicate? The daughter is going to be always there to translate for them? Okay, that could be a problem. Can we solve this problem? There's no way to. Okay, then it could cause a for the long run, it could cause a problem. So should we consider something like that? Yes, we should. Okay, we should look into something like that. We don't tell the mother-in-law who's 60 years old, go to classes now at night time to go in school to study English. No, we will tell him to learn Arabi, مثلا, or to learn the other way around, whatever the case is. But that is considered into marriage. So someone who's not compatible at all, not family status, not religion. Come on, religion is the first. Someone who does everything that is haram, but he's rich, and my family are rich. Should I marry them? No, no. It doesn't matter, because religion is the first factor that you should be looking for on both sides. Now, yes. How do we know religion? Even religious value does differ between when people are talking about it, because to everyone religious level is different. But there are minimum requirements. Okay? Yani, I told you guys a million times, the sister who always, she told me that she wants to marry someone who's religious. I told her how religious. She said, if he prays 3 times a day, that's good enough for me. I don't want someone who's too strict. So 3 is fine. If he does 2, that's bad. If he does 5, that's too strict. That's problematic. Seriously, that's problematic. That's a religious value here. It's a problem. If I'm going to marry someone and she's not wearing hijab, to me that's a religious value. I'm gonna reconsider it. I'm gonna look into it first. I'm not gonna accept that. If someone is telling you that, Allah, fasting Ramadan nowadays is not as like before the old days. This guy, khalas, you don't even discuss it with him. You don't say, oh, but he has good stuff. What good stuff? What good car? What is it? So there are minimum. The bare minimum is the belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If he does not stay consistent with his obligatory actions, then you have to worry. A sister told me once, and her father was saying, ask her, she rejected somebody, she's too strict. I said, what's wrong with that? I asked her, what was the problem? She said, Sheikh, he doesn't do qiyamul layl. So I felt good. But then something told me to ask her, did you ask about the 5 prayers first? She said, no. I said, that's a problem. The brother was not doing the 5 prayers, so he had a problem with qiyamul layl for sure. So if you're asking, she's like, no, but if I cannot get someone who doesn't do the qiyamul layl. Her standard is too high. Okay? So for her, good for her. Alhamdulillah. But then the minimum is a problem. We don't go and tell him, Astaghfirullah, Rasulullah qala sharaful mu'min qiyamul layl. The honor of a Muslim is to do qiyamul layl. The brother doesn't even do the salah, the dhuhr, asr, maghrib. What qiyamul layl? Qiyamul layl. It's like telling him, you fast Ramadan? No, I don't even believe in Ramadan. How about Thursday and Monday? Why are we even discussing that? Like, why are we even asking him about Monday and Thursday? The guy doesn't even do Ramadan. So religious standards differ. Okay? It is not, she said, I want you to be, or he told her, he said, okay, I want you to be like Khadija. She said, but you're not Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So if you want someone like Khadija, you have to be, Rasulullah has to be your top example. So maybe take someone who's a little less than Khadija because you're not really like, and so on, and then life will go on. But you cannot expect from the other side to be as religious and you're not yourself. And this happens to a lot of brothers and sisters now when they start putting down questions. Do you do this? Do you do this? Do you do this? Do you do that? And they ask like a million questions. If we flip the page and we ask him those questions, it's going to be the same answer. No, 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 no. So your religious values are the same then. So why are you asking for more? I understand someone who's asking, mashallah, he asked the sister, he said, do you memorize Bukhari and Muslim? So I said to him, do you memorize the 40 hadith of An-Nawawi? He said, no. I said, then why does she have to ask him? Why does she memorize the Bukhari and Muslim? If you don't even know the 40 hadith of Imam An-Nawawi. Oh sister, do you memorize the Quran? This is a must for me. How much do you know? Inshallah, I'm trying to learn. Then what's the point of asking her if she memorizes the Quran? She's trying to learn too. Same thing with her on the other side. Yani, don't put the expectation too high that you don't find what you're looking for, and you don't have what they are looking for, that we end up having what? Khalas, we feel like we don't match. In reality, we do match because we don't have anything. We both are on the same level. We both are on that level of learning Qul Huwallahu Ahad. Understand that part? Or just don't get married. If you don't know what marriage is, seriously, because you. Allah Mustaan. No. Any other question? No, I'm not saying don't get married like if you don't get married. Yeah. Yes. I know you want to get married badly, so go ahead. No, not badly, like in a good way. In a bad, anyway. Like you want to get married, that's a sunnah. Huh? مكره بطل ايه oh بكره okay نعم go ahead. He has a pure heart, so I could joke with him. Others, no, I can't. نعم. I what was the what's the question? Sorry. Uh-huh. كيف يعني okay. Sorry, I didn't get it for a sec. So you're saying okay. I don't know. Yeah, better to ask it. I think I think it's problematic. Can I for the purpose of marriage, let me rephrase the question. Can I for the purpose of marriage be introduced or talk to more than one sister at once to be able to choose which one? Yeah? I think that's problematic, to be honest. That's problematic. The reason is, I'll tell you why. The reason is, it's gonna be so much of comparison that you will never be pleased, because one has a characteristic that you like but something you don't like. Someone else has it's never you're never gonna be pleased. I think the best way to go about it, if you're interested in someone, is to approach her parents, okay, get to know her, do engagement, okay, and then if it doesn't work, then yes, after that. But the marriage idea that they do now, even in the masajid, where they sit them on tables, and I don't agree on that at all. And if this is not mixing, I don't know what mixing is. If this is not haram, I don't know what else is haram. They have like long tables here for brothers and sisters on the other side, and they talk for about 15-20 minutes, and then they switch. The brother goes to the other. Seriously, you don't know that? Huh? Speed dating. Here you go. Even the wording is subhanallah. And then they tell you why guys and girls don't get married, because they have dating. It's it's a desire in the heart of the fitna that people love to live in it more than to be serious. So this is what they do. And now, out of these marriage speed dating proposals, you might have 1 out of 100 who actually get married. Because everybody who's there, with all the respect, they're not there to get married. By the time Aslan they get to the fourth one, they already forgot what they spoke about with the first one. So they don't know if she was good or not. Oh, I think, which one was good? One or two? No, I think one was better than two. What is that? That's playing around. Okay? Even if you do it in the masajid. I believe this should stop in our masajid. No. What is better is that the brothers and the sisters, they submit like an application, for example, or a resume. Okay? And then someone is there to match it, and then when we feel there's a match, we bring them together with the family present or someone there, and then let them talk and see what happens. But to sit like that, I don't think it's allowed, and I don't think it's we shouldn't do it as men. Yes. لا معلش. Huh? Yeah, you don't pray Sunnatul Fajr after Fajr if you pray it before Fajr. But if you don't pray it before Fajr, then you could make it up after Fajr before sunrise. But it should not be a habit. Yani if every day you miss Sunnatul Fajr and you pray it after Fajr, no, you shouldn't do that. But if you miss Sunnatul Fajr before and you prayed Fajr, then you could make it right after, right after. And there's another Sunnah that a lot of people don't pay attention to. Anybody know it? When praying Sunnatul Fajr. Surah of what? La 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 la. After. I'm talking about after. You should pray it fast, of course. You should pray. Actually, these are the two rak'ah that you should pray very fast. Aisha said, Wallahi, I would see Rasulullah praying the two sunnah before Fajr. I would not recognize if he read Al-Fatiha or not. Yani that's how fast he was that Aisha would think that maybe he doesn't even read the whole Fatiha. Okay? Some people, mashallah, they go very long till the Imam finishes Salat al-Fajr. But if you do it afterward, no. Afterward, after Sunnah, after Fajr, you should not do adhkar before the Sunnah. You should not disconnect the time between the Sunnah and Fajr. So if you miss Salat two rak'ah before Fajr, as soon as the Imam says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, okay, you get up and pray two rak'ah, then do your adhkar. You don't disconnect the salah with the adhkar at that moment. No. Any other question? Any other question? No. Yes. Very, very possible. If you're talking about a sister approaching marriage, I don't see any problem of a sister going to someone in the community, someone, you know, respectfully, or telling her parents if they're okay with that, to ask about someone, or she asks someone that knows him. She comes to Imam of the masjid or someone and says, Wallahi subhanallah, this brother, I am interested in him, or I'm saying that this brother has good qualities that I'm looking for. Would you mind talking to him, or would you mind giving me advice? خلاص. It's very simple. طبعا, I would say there is no problem doing that from the sister side, because some people feel it's like humiliating. Like it's humiliating for a sister to propose. No, it's not humiliating. Khadija radiallahu anha, she proposed to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but she didn't go and tell him, Ya Rasulullah, Ya Muhammad, do you want to marry me? She actually sent her sister Hala. Hala went to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She said, are you interested in getting married now? He was looking, and she said, okay, how about Khadija? So she's the one like kind of proposed, but in a way that she showed him. So he's like, oh, actually, yeah, worked for her. She's nice, like that. There is ways around it, but I would not recommend for a sister to go and approach a brother and see him sitting down. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, how are you? Alhamdulillah. I heard good stuff about you. Would you like to marry me? I wouldn't recommend it. Seriously, because of so many reasons. I'm not gonna mention, the fitan and the problems that happen with that. But there's always a way. I have gotten people married that way. Many of them. The sister will be the first to approach and then ask, and then I'll go to the brother, for example, and I'll tell him, what do you think? And the brother will be like, subhanallah, maybe he's looking, but she never crossed his mind. Or he doesn't even know her, or he doesn't know who she is. Now he would recognize her, he would know her. Khalas, it's approachable, and their intention is marriage. Their intention, they're not dating, so it should be completely fine, inshallah. Oh yeah, I would say better. Guys, you guys are on campus, you're in school, you see each other. Yani, just be a little realistic. You guys see each other on campus every day. You're like, I don't know how he looks like, but I already know him. He's in all your classes. If somebody comes and says they shouldn't see each other, طب والله I'm sorry, but they already see each other. They just finished their project that they have done to graduate together. Be real. Just be real. That should not leave your modesty and your haya, that you start flirting and going out and holding hands and enjoy your time for a year or two to get to know each other, and then at the end you're like, we don't work for each other, okay, let's move on. That's haram. Khalas? That's very clear. If it's intention of marriage, go the right way. Go to the family. Assalamu alaikum. I am interested in your daughter. Okay. I see that she has good quality. I ask other people and I seen it. Okay. Or may or she was in my class and I noticed that mashallah she's so religious, she's a good person. I want to marry her. That the best way. Like to start going around, give me your phone number. Here's my phone number. Let's talk for 10 years. Then after 10 years, when we have, inshallah, 3, 4 babies, we'll figure out who we should marry or not. That's American style. I was shocked to be exposed to something like that because I came from a background that wasn't like that. In my high school, when I got to high school, my teacher was so happy. She was so excited that she's getting married. So to me, it was like, okay, people actually getting married in America, that's a good thing. So she said she been living with this person for over 7 years. They have 2 children already, and just now they decided to get married. And I was like, oh, you guys have children first before marriage. Okay. That's like the sister who came to the sheikh, he was new to, she said, make dua for me. He said, for what? She said that I would get married. He said, may Allah bless you with marriage and children. She said, no, alhamdulillah, I already have children. Just make dua that I get married. So this is how they live. This is the life. We're not like that. We're not like that. Rasulullah ﷺ used to tell the Sahaba, what do you think of so and so? When Julaybib came to Rasulullah ﷺ, and Julaybib was not a good looking man and nobody wanted him to marry their daughter. Can you imagine that? He was known. And Allah's creations are all good. But that's how people see him. He went to Rasulullah ﷺ, he said, Ya Rasulullah, would I get married in Jannah? And he said, inshallah. Like, why you ask that question? He said, if I'm going to get married to the women of Jannah, who are, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described them in certain ways, that they're better than this woman in dunya a million times, and the women of dunya are better than Hur in Jannah. He said, then why are your friends not getting me married to their daughters? If I'm going to marry in Jannah, then this should be easier. What did Rasulullah say to him? Oh, go out and just sit in the streets, and anybody who cross by, go talk to her and see if you like. No. He said, go to so-and-so's family and ask them for their daughter and see what they say. Julaybib, you don't think he thought of this family? Maybe he did, maybe not. Maybe it didn't cross his mind. Maybe he didn't know that they have a daughter who's getting married. So Rasulullah told him, go and talk to her family. When he went to talk to her family, they both rejected, the father and the mother. Because he said, Rasulullah sent me to ask you for your daughter's hand. So they said, oh, mashallah, Rasulullah, he sent you, this is a good thing. Of course, if it's Rasulullah. He said, no, it's not Rasulullah. So the mother said, or the father said, Abu Bakr and Umar? Abu Bakr, the father, Julaybib said no. He said, Umar, Julaybib said no. He said, then who? Who is he asking for? He said, me. The father said, okay, give me 5 minutes. The hadith literally said, awwah. Awwah means what? Oh my God. He couldn't find anyone but you. Let me talk to the mother. So he went inside, he told his wife, okay? He said to his wife, Julaybib came outside and he said, Rasulullah is asking for your daughter. She said, MashaAllah wa ni'mat ayn. This is a beautiful, of course, if Rasulullah, why not? He said, but he's not asking for her, Rasulullah. She said, oh, Abu Bakr. He said, no. Umar, no. Then who? He said, Julaybib. She said, awwah. Like, seriously? What did the daughter say? She heard them, she came out, she said, وَمَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ وَلَا مُؤْمِنَةٍ إِذَا قَضَى اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ أَمْرًا أَنْ يَكُونَ لَهُمُ الْخِيَرَةُ. She said, we don't have an option when Allah and His Prophet commands us to do something, we should follow. How could Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam send him to propose and you reject what Rasulullah sallam? Allah told us to follow Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wallahi, I accept and I'm going to marry him. When Julaybib heard that, he went to Rasulullah sallam, he told them. What Rasulullah said, he said, Subhanallah, may Allah bless her, may Allah prolong her life, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase her provision. She got married to Julaybib. The day they got married, the same day, proposal happened, they got married. Okay, while they're getting married, Bilal is calling for jihad, Uhud. So Julaybib looked at her and he said, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives me a longer life, I will see you later. Assalamu alaikum. He didn't even see her or touch her. He moved. He went to the battle and he died. And Rasulullah took him and he wiped dust over his face and he said, Julaybib is like me. She lived so long because of the dua of Rasulullah. She was one of the richest women in Medina because of the barakah of accepting Rasulullah's command, accepting religion, favoring the deen over anything else. Allah will put barakah into it. Is not about, it's not only about beauty, it's not only about money, it's not the deen is what matters the most. If you're looking, then make your number one priority is the deen. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يتقبل منا ومنكم. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from all of us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with righteousness in this life, inshallah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our actions. Allahumma ameen. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka nabi Muhammad. Alhamdulillah.